Let's stop pretending. Most men think they know when a woman loves them. They think it's in the texts, the kisses, the I miss yous, the pretty distractions. It's not. Because love, real love, doesn't scream. It whispers. It hides in the invisible. In the moves she makes when no one's watching. In what she sacrifices without telling you. In what she never says, but always does. And most men, they miss it. They chase noise. They get hooked on charm and surface affection, and then wonder why it all falls apart. But not you, not today. Because in the next few minutes, you'll see what most never do. 6 signs a woman only reveals when she's all in. Not infatuated, not kinda interested, but emotionally anchored to your rise, your peace, your purpose. This isn't about dating, it's about devotion. It's about the rare kind of woman who sees your storm and stays anyway. So lean in, slow your breath, and watch closely. Because once you know these signs, you'll never be fooled again. Number 1, she stays through the darkness. You want to know if a woman really loves you? Let her see you break. Not the version of you polish for the world. Not the charm, not the jokes. Let her see the side of you that bleeds silently. Because most women want your highlight reel, the ambition, the edge, the fantasy. But the one who stays when the curtain falls, that one is different. She doesn't flinch when the mask slips. She doesn't recoil when you confess a mistake. She doesn't weaponize your pain. She honors it. She listens without fixing, holds space without running, and somehow respects you more when you break. Because to her, vulnerability isn't weakness. It's proof that you trust her enough to remove the armor. And here's the paradox. She sees your flaws, but her loyalty doesn't shrink. It grows. She becomes your mirror. She might challenge you, call you out, push you to rise, but she never makes you feel unworthy of love, even when you feel unworthy yourself. That's rare. That's real. That's loyalty. You can't fake. Because love isn't proven when everything's shining. It's proven when the lights go out. So if you've let her see you wounded, and she stayed not out of pity, but power, then what you have is sacred. 2, she adapts to your world without losing hers. This is where most men get it wrong. They think love means attention. They think devotion looks like abandonment. But real love, it looks like alignment. Watch her carefully. Does she bend without breaking? Adjust without vanishing? Move into your rhythm while keeping her own beat alive? Then you're not just dating a woman. You're building with a partner. Because a woman who truly loves you doesn't try to control your orbit. She learns to move with it. She doesn't tug you from your mission. She studies it. Your late night grind, she doesn't whine. She shifts her presence to fit beside it. Your silence, she doesn't panic. She listens between the lines. She begins asking about your dreams. She learns the names of your mentors. She starts understanding the why behind your obsession. Not to impress you, not to manipulate you, but because she's invested in the man beneath the title. She sees your potential like a blueprint and chooses to be the foundation beneath it. But here's the key. She doesn't disappear into you. She doesn't dissolve her identity. She's not there to be saved. She's there to stand beside you while you both rise. That kind of love is silent, but exact. She won't interrupt your purpose. She integrates with it. She won't steal your spotlight. She holds it steady. Let this be your test. If she can walk beside your fire without dimming her own, you've found someone rare. Because real love doesn't beg for attention. It builds from alignment. 3, she becomes emotionally exclusive before you ever ask. There's a moment, before the title, before the label, before anything official, where you begin to notice something subtle. She's already chosen you, not with words, with behavior. She doesn't say, "I'm yours." She shows it, by quietly letting everything else fade into the background. The replies to other men get slower. The friendly DMS dry up. She stops posting thirst, stops entertaining drama, starts respecting the bond before it's defined. Why? Because in her heart, you're already hers. And here's what most men miss. You didn't ask for it. You didn't demand it. She just shifted. Naturally, deliberately, powerfully. She begins moving like a woman who guards what matters. Not out of fear, not out of pressure, but out of loyalty. She starts turning down situations that would blur the line. She skips that party. She avoids that harmless hangout with the guy who's always lurking. She disappears from spaces that make you question her devotion, and she doesn't explain it. She just does it. Because true love doesn't need permission to act committed. It commits before the label. So if you're wondering where she stands, don't look at her lips. Watch her patterns. If she's pulling away from all the noise and pulling closer to you without making it a performance, you're not just one of many. You're the center of her emotional gravity. That's not dating, that's devotion. 4. She defends you when you're not in the room. Want to know who really loves you? Don't just watch how she acts when you're around. Watch how she speaks when you're not. That's where the truth lives. Does she smile when your name comes up? Does she stop her friends when they cross the line? Does she shut down gossip? Even when it's subtle? Even when it's uncomfortable? Because here's what most won't admit. When a woman doesn't care, she stays silent. She'll let people poke fun at you, let comments slide, let your name get tossed around like it doesn't matter. But a woman who loves you, she becomes your shield, your silence defender, your invisible sword. She'll check her best friend mid-sentence. She'll shift the energy of a room. She'll say, "Don't talk about him like that," even if it costs her comfort. Because defending someone behind closed doors, that's loyalty. That's identity. It means you're not just a guy she's seeing. You're someone she protects with her reputation. Why? Because your name now lives inside her. Your story is part of hers. And protecting you is protecting what you two are building. So here's the test. What does she say about you when you're not around? Because if she's not defending your name in private, she doesn't deserve to hold your hand in public. Number 5. She nurtures you without ever being asked. She doesn't announce it. She doesn't need applause. She just does it, quietly, naturally, without being told. And that's how you know it's real. When a woman loves you, care becomes instinct. She notices before you speak. She helps before you ask. She supports before you stumble. You're tired? She already made coffee. You've gone silent? She checks in, soft and slow. You're battling stress? She adapts, flows, shows up in ways that say, "I've got you," even if you don't say a word. Not because you demand it, not because she's playing a role, but because your peace matters to her nervous system. She folds your shirt, heats your food, texts you just to ask, "Did you eat?" And no, this isn't about submission. This is about emotional allegiance. This is about someone who sees your rise as her own reflection. Someone who wants to be part of the system that holds you up. But here's the truth most overlook. She won't do this for just anyone. She won't cook for a man she doesn't respect. She won't interrupt her day for someone who's temporary. That kind of care only happens when she's fully invested. Walls down, heart open, future aligned. So don't look for the loud signs. Look for the soft ones, the invisible ones, the unspoken effort that happens when no one's watching. That's the real love letter, and it never needs a pen. 6. She becomes your anchor, not your storm. You won't always be charming. You won't always be composed. And you won't always feel like the man the world expects you to be. There will be nights when you doubt yourself, mornings where your fire feels dim, moments where your reflection no longer recognizes you. And this is where most people leave. They love the light, but they vanish when the shadows stretch. But her, she stays. She doesn't shrink from your silence. She doesn't flinch at your broken edges. She doesn't try to fix you, lecture you, or cheer you up. She just stays, grounded, calm, still, like a lighthouse that never moves, even when the sea beneath it rages. Because a woman who truly loves you, she becomes your anchor. She doesn't float when you sink. She doesn't panic when you fall quiet. She holds the line, so when your grip slips, you don't disappear. She won't flood you with questions. She won't make your pain about her. She just sits in the dark with you and listens, not to the words, but to the space between them. And here's what's wild. She doesn't see your breakdown as weakness. She sees it as intimacy. Proof that you trust her enough to let your armor fall. Proof that your shadow isn't something to run from. It's something to be met, held, respected. She'll never mock what you reveal. She'll never weaponize your truth. And you'll feel something inside shift, because for the first time, you're not being judged for falling. You're being loved through it. No noise, no spotlight, just her, present in the weight of your silence. That's not luck. That's spiritual loyalty. The kind that doesn't post about love, it proves it. And when you're ready to rise again, not only is she still there, she's the reason you remember how to stand. That's not affection. That's anchoring. That's the woman you don't take for granted. You protect her, not out of fear, but out of reverence. Because anyone can walk beside you in celebration. Only one will hold you through the collapse. And when she does, don't second guess it. She's not your storm. She's your center. She's the one for you. If this stirred something inside you, if a memory surfaced, or a woman's presence echoed through your breath as you listened, don't ignore that, because this wasn't a story. It was a mirror. And if you saw yourself in it, then you're already changing. A woman who loves like this, who stays when the world collapses, who moves in rhythm with your purpose instead of pulling you off it, that's not fantasy. That's alignment. And if you've ever felt that, or if you still believe it's out there, then this is where you belong. Subscribe to the Stoic Architect, not for advice, for awakening, for clarity, for the blueprint of a man who doesn't chase love, but builds a world worthy of it. You've already felt the shift. Now finish it, because when you hear truth like this, you don't scroll, you rise,